Welcome to T Academy. I'm Tarek Merchant. Today I'm going to be educating you guys on camps versus showcases or combines. So a lot of student athletes are looking to play in either a exposure camp, prospect camp, elite camp, whatever the school, person, organization, company calls it, versus a showcase, combine, and there might be other ways that people call those type of events. ID camps is another one, for example. So I want to explain the differences between those, the fact that some people are calling some things certain types of camps or showcases or combines, but they're not really the same thing. So let's break it down here and let's talk about the different aspects about these two things. So starting with camps, okay? Elite camp, prospect camp, exposure camp. If you're going to a typical camp where you're trying to get an idea of if you're a prospect or not, these camps are designed for players depending on the ages. So some will have, they will tell you what they're designed for. So let's say they're designed for players, grades 9 through 12. Whatever they're telling you they're designed for, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that camp, that information to tell you what they're designed for. Legally, by law, if you're running it on an NCAA campus, Division I has even more laws, they're going to force you to not only write that, but tell you that they're open to any and all entrants. In order for college coaches to be involved in these types of camps, you need to have that terminology, and therefore you'll have the age limit listed. And even it could be by gender. So if it's for grades 9 through 12, that's what it's designed for. You'd like to think that the company, the people that are doing it, are going to be doing it so that it caters to each of those people. The main concern that people have when they go to a camp is they think it's very similar to a showcase. And by that fact, it's actually really different. If it's a exposure camp, prospect camp, college coaches are going to be on court. So on court with college coaches. Okay, that's a huge difference between camps and showcases. Here you get an opportunity to be on court with college coaches. So being on court with them means you get to train with them, they get to interact with you. Doesn't matter what age you are, as long as you fit in that designated age range that they're asking for. They're there to not only show you some of their drills and what they do with their teams, but they're also going to help you improve your game tactics, and they're going to be doing in-class, out-of-class set presentations. Whatever this program that you have, the camp is designed to do, that's what the coaches can be involved with. For example, when I run camps, I also make the coaches the staff of the camp, right? So they can be the staff as well. So if they're the staff of the camp, they're running the whole thing, and they're employed most of the time. If they're employed as they're getting paid to do that, plus they're representing their school, that's the double advantage you get there, because not only are they going to run it for you, but they're also going to be representing their school, and then therefore by default, you're going to get an opportunity to potentially get recruited. Now, the thing that people need to understand is, okay, they say, if I'm in grade 9, 10, well, why should I go to an exposure camp? Like, my son or daughter's not ready to get recruited right now. That's the difference. If you are a younger student athlete, so let's say you're in grade 9 or 10, for example, and you're not thinking about recruiting right now. That's not on your mind. You don't want your kid to think about it. It's too early in regards to actually getting recruited. It's not too early to start getting educated and learning about the process. So a lot of people mistaken that to a showcase as well, thinking, well, they're just going to play some matches there. Coaches are going to scout them. Since they can't talk to them, since they can't recruit them, since they can't, do anything regarding recruiting, there's no point for me to go. Well, that's not the case. The camp is designed for you to learn, to get educated, so that you can prepare yourself for the next several years. Coaches can evaluate your game, tell you how you're doing, and if your behavior is mapping to be, good enough to play for their team one day, or what you need to do to be good enough. You're also getting educated on the development, what it's like to be a college player, to what these coaches are looking for, and every coach knows at least 100 more coaches. So not only are you making a relationship with them, but they can help introduce you to other coaches at some point. So you're really getting an opportunity to get your feet wet. You're getting an opportunity to train like a tennis player, a college athlete, and you get to see if you can compete at some of those schools in the near future. The coaches will give you that information if they're engaging, if they're a camp that's designed to really help you. A lot of coaches do these camps every single year. They're either doing it on their own campus or they're working with an organization and they're doing it for many years. So part of their mandate is to help with that easy transition from junior to your college career. And if they're doing a good job and they're invested, then they're really going to help you and give you as much advice and direction as possible. You should walk away from those camps feeling like you're more motivated, feeling like you understand more about the process and what's it gonna require, and see if your level is starting to map out to what they're looking for in the upcoming years. If you are in grade 11 or 12, you're looking to get recruited, right? But it doesn't mean you're not looking to still learn and do everything the 9th and 10th grader is trying to do as well. You're also developing relationships. You're also learning about the process. You're also training with them on the court or in the field. You're also getting advice from them on what you should do, how you should do it. You're just much more involved, which means that if the coach is there at the camp and they are helping you develop your game, then there's also an opportunity after the camp for them to recruit you, which is a great opportunity. So by default, that's happening because camps are designed to develop your game first and foremost. They're not there as a recruiting opportunity right away. But because when you're that age and you're working with those coaches, you do get that opportunity for them to contact you and see if they're interested in recruiting you. And if they're not, maybe they can help you get in front of some other schools, or they may know a coach that is looking for somebody and they're going to give you your contact information, and you might have some more leads. Talking about showcases and combines now. So what is a showcase and combine going to do for you, right? These are generally designed for players, grades 10 through 12, or college transfers, or kids that have taken a gap year. So, typically, let's say up until about 4 or 5 years ago, it was designed for 11th and 12th graders because of the recruiting rules and all that stuff. As I mentioned even about the camps, younger kids weren't interested to come to those events because they thought, well, if I can't get recruited now, what's the point? I'll do it in 11th and 12th grade. Well, now that some rule changes have come with the NCAA, their recruiting process for colleges have become accelerated. Coaches are now scouting players earlier and earlier than they ever have before. That's partially because of the rules, it's partially because of technology, and it's partially because of the fact that things are just much more fast-paced, and coaches are realizing because they can follow kids more closely nowadays with all these events going on and opportunities, that they're willing to spend more time scouting the right type of player for them. So if there is a showcase combine that is designed for 10 to a 12, you'd like to think that those people behind the organization are actually creating an atmosphere where you can get value out of it at every age that they're offering it to. If you're a college transfer, depending on your situation, depending on your, the transfer market, the timing of the event, you could qualify to play in one of these as well. Gap year, kids that have already finished high school, are taking the 6-month or 1-year gap year. Again, depending on when that event is happening, you can qualify to also play in these events. But what a showcase and combine is designed by nature to do is to test your skills, right? So there may be a form of, evaluating your fitness level to your skill level. If it's a racket sport versus like baseball, where some statistics are going to come into play, football, running, throwing, whatever your positions are, they're going to test your skills and they're going to give you a report on that to the coaches, and coaches can watch that. They're also going to be watching you play, right? So whether it's scrimmages or matches or whatever your sport is, you're going to get an opportunity to play, and coaches can scout, right? This is the big thing right here. Everybody over here, I'm going to put this in red, circle it. This is what everybody comes to a showcase for. They say, look, I want to be in front of these coaches. I want to get scouted. I want them to scout my game. I want to showcase my talent, and I want to be able to see if they'll want me on their team. So a mix of these two is what a lot of these showcases and combines do. Some do just the playing, some do both. Either way, as long as there's a lot of college coaches out there, your information is given to them, you're able to showcase your talent, it's a great opportunity for you. Some companies over here will also include like some Q&As, sessions, some types of expos. There's a combination of ways they try to give you more and more exposure to these coaches. Depending on the rules, the timings, they can do some of these things, and they can help you meet some more coaches and learn a little bit more about the process and what you're going to be doing. So, if the takeaway that you really want to hammer home here is that if you're anywhere, from, let's say, 8th grade onward, 9th grade onward, camps, you got to be at these camps. I think they're an invaluable tool to get you in front of coaches, to be able to mingle with them, network with them, and learn more about what you need to do and what college sports is all about. If you're in 11th, 12th grade, maybe even 10th, like showcases, combines become very valuable because now you're getting an assessment on your level, and you can start to get recruited. And you can start to see which schools are trying to recruit you, and that helps you determine your level as well. So, you're not on court with these coaches over here in a showcase. They're just watching you. Do you have an opportunity to talk to them? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends on the rules as well. Are you getting some educational value? Yes, but not as much over here. So, if I'm in grade 11 or 12, I'm going to try to do both. If I'm younger, I'm going to definitely try to do the camps. And then I'm going to look at it on the flip side and say, look, it's expensive. I can't travel to all these events. I can't make it. Then I suggest you pick at least one. And if you're going to pick one that you can do throughout your high school years, then I would be picking a showcase or combine to go to in grade 11. So I'm going to throw that out here, down here. If you had to pick one thing because you literally can't do anything else, you just don't have the funds, then that's what I would be picking. I would be going then, because that gives you the optimal time to get recruited as well as showcase your talent and get in front of coaches that you can start working over the next year and a half on discussing your options with these colleges and these coaches. I'll also say that a lot of families decide not to attend these events because they don't think they bring value. If you've been to one that didn't bring you value, I think you need to look at the companies that do, because I know in every sport there are good companies that give you the right value, and people really benefit from this, way more so than not doing it at all, especially if you're not a 5-star blue chip recruit. If you're there, of course, coaches are looking after you, but if you're anything less, 4-star and below, I really think that you need the exposure, you need that. I still think 5 stars blue chips need the education, and it doesn't hurt them at all. So if you could do it, you should do it. But everybody's going to benefit. But people aren't sometimes spending their money in the right spot. So, think about your traveling, think about the events you go to, the tournaments or the matches, the teams and leagues you play in, and just make sure that you include something like this, because it's so important to do one thing like this in the summer or winter that's really going to help your development and really get you motivated and interested in understanding more about what these coaches think about your level, so that when you go to training, when you're playing in these leagues, when you're putting up the numbers, that you understand what it's going to take, and you've already taken steps towards that recruiting. Doing one of these, is just a small sacrifice. Maybe it's a couple tournaments less, maybe it's a couple league matches less, maybe it's signing up for something that you normally do that you don't need to, because at some point this becomes super important. So just to conclude here, camps, showcases, combines, depending when they're designed for, look at those. If you're a younger kid, there's plenty of opportunity, and it's really, really important that if you can do it, you do it. You get on-court coaching with coaches. Coaches can work the camp and be hands-on with you. There's a lot of education involved. There's a lot of fun involved in these types of camps, especially if they're overnights too. Showcases, combines, this is where you get scouted by college coaches. Not that you don't in the camps, but this is pure scouting. This is designed usually for 10 and 11 and 12th graders. If you have to go to one and you got to choose only one time throughout your whole high school years, it's grade 11 when I believe you should be going there to get the optimal results. And skills development is all part of this, as well as your transfers and gap years. Kids that are in that situation, they can only go to these type of events. So I would recommend doing so, especially if you're in the gap year. You're probably not being scouted the same way that college coaches are seeing the high school kids, so they may forget you, miss you. College transfers, you guys need as much help as possible too. You have a short period of time to find another school. So I hope this was valuable for you guys. It was good education, and this is my overview of what you should be doing.